Welcome to the Every Day is a New Day podcast and live show. The inspirational show about moving forward and choosing to be more of you. Transmuting the self-doubt and stepping into courageously aligned confidence in who you uniquely are. My name is Kim O'Neill. I'm a twice certified transformational confidence coach, Reiki master, best-selling author, and former crime analyst who now helps empathic, heart-centered individuals shatter the noise of self-doubt, find clarity on what self-love really looks like, and the courage to be peacefully grounded in who you've always known you are, from the inside out. Join me for the live shows on Facebook and YouTube, and visit KimO'NeillCoaching.com for more info. Let's get to it. And welcome to the Every Day is a New Day show. I have another amazing guest with me today. Welcome, Dominique Brightmon.
Woohoo! Yeah, feels good to be in the building with you, Kim. Feels good in the neighborhood. Oh, yeah. Right. Getting down to the the east, and the west. That's right. Yeah, for no reason. That's right, just side to side. That's right, like peanut butter and chocolate, peanut butter and jelly. And then there's chocolate without the jelly. That's right. Oh, yeah. And the north. And then the north again. And then maybe south. Oh, wait, there's Florida. Oh, crap. Go back north. Let me see.
Oh, I love it, Dom. Where'd that come from?
Streams of consciousness.
Oh, Dom, you are so fun. Okay, so Dom, to get into it, I want to give everyone a little bit of background on who you are. And then we're going to have more fun, and we're going to learn more about Dom and interact with our live and replay viewers as well. So feel free to say hello. Let us know where you're tuning in. And as always, if you have questions during tonight's show, let us know in the chat. We love to interact with you. So Dom, here we go. Dominique Brightmon is an award-winning speaker and certified member of the John Maxwell Team. He is the author of Going North, Tips and Techniques to Advance Yourself, and the follow-up bestseller, Stay the Course, The Elite Performer's 7 Secret Keys to Sustainable Success. He's the host of the Going North podcast, a top-rated self-help podcast that interviews authors from all over the world. And his mantra is advance yourself to advance. Sorry, I said that backwards, Dom. His mantra is, Dom's mantra is, advance others to advance yourself. You can reach out to him to learn how you can unlock your inner value through book writing, coaching, and podcasting over at dombrightmon.com. And that link is down in the chat if you're with us live here on Facebook today. And Dom, let me just first ask you, because so much of what you do is all about going north. And I've already heard this answer, but our audience may not have. So what does going north mean?
Yes, going north is embracing your dreams and helping others to embrace their dreams as well, because at the end of the day, we all dream, or at least want to become better in life at something. Heck, even if it's becoming the best couch potato ever, which I don't encourage you to do, but yeah, definitely embracing your dreams and helping others to do the same.
Hey, no dream is too small. Every dream is viable.
Yeah. That's right. You could have all of Idaho if you want. I don't know. Yep, the corn cobs up here already.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So Dom. Okay. So I absolutely love your sense of humor. I love, I love this outlook you have on moving forward and personal development. And one of the things that I think also really stands out about you, at least to me, when you listen to Dom's shows, you will notice how, so tell me if you've heard this before, Dom. Dom, you are very laid back and in the flow and peaceful. And so, and it's very calming. And I want to ask you about that. Where does that come from? And talk to me about that.
Oh, wow. I actually never got this question before. Alrighty. Interesting. Funny enough, it's really from my upbringing and my spiritual beliefs. I'm a born again Christian, raised in the Baptist church, still a Christian even after studying a bunch of other religions. And my parents, especially because they were decades ahead of me in age, like nowadays a parent may be 17 or 27 or 37. My parents were senior citizens, and my father especially was a war veteran, fought in the 82nd Airborne Division, and really cool guy, laid back on the couch and everything like that. Likes to joke around with people when he's around other guys, and I would see that within himself, and it just kind of rubbed off for me. So I like to borrow from Lupe Fiasco and say I'm an old soul in a sonic youth. That's really where it comes from.
Well, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. You definitely come across with this vast wisdom and knowledge, and yet, Dom, can I tell them how old you are?
Oh, sure. Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah.
Dom's not even 30. Dom's not even 30.
Yeah, I'm getting close. I'm 28. Yeah, I'll be 29 next month, funny enough, at the time of this recording.
I love it. I think it's very inspiring. So, okay, now you are the author of 2 books and you host a podcast that's all about connecting with other authors and talking about books and personal development, all of those things as well. But what age were you when you published your first book?
Oh, wow. That was 23. Yeah. My God. Wow. That was, shoot. Wow. 5 years ago. Okay.
Time flies, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, it's like I'm not 30 yet. I'm still young.
You're still young, Dom.
I know, but it's like, it's like, oh God, it's fast. It's like,
Well, and so I watched an interview that you did where you talked about that you hadn't even thought about doing a book in your early 20s. And that question was posed to you. What about you? Where's your book? And so, I know there are a lot of people out there who have thought about writing a book. It excites them. And yet, for whatever reason, they may think that they're not ready yet, or it's not time, or maybe they think they can't for some reason. What do you say to that as someone who has published their first book at 23?
What I say to that is just say screw it and let's do it. And that's really where it comes from, because we all have fear. I still have my own fears. And shout out to the heavenly Helene Wilson. Hello to you too, as well as the wonderful Bet. If I got your name right, if I butchered your name, please don't. Betty. Okay, there we go. The wonderful Betty and the wonderful Helene. There we go. And really just say screw it, let's do it, and admitting that you have fear and you just do it anyway, because at the end of the day, fear is really a compass, to be honest. And usually fear is pointing in a direction you need to go, because like the book itself, when I had the challenge at 22, and then after turning 23, when it manifested itself, it's really one heck of a great side to be on. It's kind of like the whole grass is greener on the other side sort of thing. You're looking at someone else's grass and it looks extra green, and you think your grass is brown. When you get onto the other side, looking at someone else's grass, you realize it's just as brown as yours and all that good stuff. And you realize, no, maybe I should focus on some Kentucky bluegrass like this blue cover in the picture here, and focus on making my grass as green as possible as a metaphor off the cuff, because really, at the end of the day, we're all humans. We're all trying to better ourselves and become better, whether we believe it or not. And we all subconsciously change. And we might as well take the opposite route and consciously change. So getting your CC in order, consciously changing for the better and not butter, because butter melts and it can be cut by a butter knife. You don't want to be cut by a butter knife. Work to get yourself metaphorically hard as a brick in terms of how far you can grow and go. So that's really some advice. It's a little cliche motivational with a little corniness, but it's so darn true. Just use fear as a compass and go forward and tell people about it too, because that'll amp up the fear. And heck, to even add on to that, a dead line puts a dead end on procrastination, because I was given a year to do it. She challenged me for a year. And even though at the time, even though she didn't know, I actually secretly accepted a challenge a few days later. It's kind of funny. It's like, so that contract I was supposed to sign, I still signed it. Here you go. It's like, how the hell you get this? But good on you, mate. Good on you, mate. And really just giving yourself that deadline and still following through and just getting others on your accountability team and making a list of people too that you told your goals to, because that's even another part of the mission of getting that done. I wrote down a list of people of everybody I told the list that I was going to write a book to. Funny enough, some of those names, I never met them again. I met them first time, told them about it. I've never seen them again yet. So yeah, that's kind of a lot, but that's kind of how it all came together.
That is fascinating. Okay. And so was writing the book the first thing you did that was kind of fueled by this, well, maybe not fueled, but that had fear behind it, motivating you and pushing you forward? Was that the first thing that you can recall doing like that?
Well, on that level, I mean, there's there's Taekwondo tests that come to mind where some limbs are broken and other things, but yeah. We'll
You learned how to put yourself out there in other ways prior to that. Okay.
yeah, we'll go with that. Shout out to Alex Dumas, the AD baby, my fellow chocolate brother out in North Kakalaki. That's what I'm talking about.
And he's also talking about your golden voice, which I was talking about earlier, being this just very soothing, peaceful, calm voice that Dom has on his show as well. So, yeah, I love that you acknowledge that, Alex. So, Dom, and the reason why I asked that question is because when we've got that first thing that we choose to do, that big, hairy, audacious goal, or that big, scary thing we choose to do and put ourselves out there for, it can be really hard to take that first step. It can seem, so overwhelmingly scary to move forward. And it can also be easy to confuse that fear for, then I shouldn't do it right now. Like what Dom's saying, I should do it in spite of that, but a lot of times people can say, oh no, I feel this, which might be telling me, no, my intuition, right? We can confuse that with intuition, is telling me not to do it. And so what would you say to someone who's choosing to do something that they're passionate about and excites them, and yet they're also feeling that intense fear or anxiety? Like, how do they know that they're going north and moving in the right direction?
Yeah. Oh yeah, the pearly whites had to appear on that one, because really that excitement of when you're in your purpose and your passion is just really anticipation of a great experience. Like with Toastmaster International, nice organization where you practice leadership and public speaking. Folks are talking about, man, I got these butterflies in my stomach, and they come to me and other folks have been doing it for a while. I'm like, hey, how do you get over the nerves? Like, are you still nervous? Like, how do you get over the nerves? You look great up there. And I'm like, actually, I still got nerves, because heck, I had nerves today. And it's been a while since I got nerves before a podcast interview during this whole COVID crap. But really, it's just anticipation of what good is to come when you're just going to give it to them, because that really shows that you care about what you're doing. You're caring about the message you're going to share with other people. Because if you don't care and you don't have that nervous energy and you get your butterflies to fly in that wonderful formation, then you're going to be feeling off. Because I can tell you from experience, the times where I didn't feel nervous before a presentation is usually when I sucked, and I sucked horribly. Like heck, that was even last year, funny enough, where I was invited to speak in front of a group of kids, multiple grades from 5th to 8th grade. And they had this big smorgasbord of a breakfast. And I usually don't eat during a presentation, but I was like, all right, the whole manners thing came in, the training came in. I'm like, all right, let me grab something here. All right, grab something there. I was halfway through the plate and I was like, I ain't feeling good. And then I got up to do the presentation. After I was over and I was handing out these going off wristbands to the kids for free as a free gift to people, one kid was just passed out, dead tired. I'm like, oh, dang it. Yeah. So, and I wasn't nervous that day before I gave the presentation. So that's a case in point of how you may see the glitz and glams of a curated feed on social media, but no, I'm human. We all fail. We have to take our failures and move them or let them propel us forward. So that's just my feedback on that one.
I know, I love it. I think it's great, because what's coming up for me as you say that is it's really all about knowing that you're connected to your passion. And so I personally, I don't believe that we have to have fear and anxiety in order to do something. And yet it just because you have it doesn't mean that you'd be making a wrong decision moving in that direction. It actually can be confirmation that, yeah, there's something there, that's, and you can allow that to fuel you and drive you forward. And sometimes that will never decrease or go away until you decide to step into it and take action in spite of it. So I love that you can speak to that for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So Dom, what would you say are some tips to help someone stay on course and moving forward in spite of the fear or whatever else might be coming along on their journey as they're deciding to move forward and achieve a goal? I know you've got another book here. I'll just throw that up on the screen as well.
Oh, yeah, stay the course, baby. That's right. It's shiny. It's a compass. It's even more gold than the last one. It's extra fabulous. It was a bestseller for 35 minutes. Buy it now. Yeah, that's legit actually what happened. It got bestseller for like 30 minutes. And I took a screenshot, and I'm like, you know what? Dang it. It was for 30 minutes, but I defended my belt for half an hour. I'm taking it. But back to your question about staying focused on your goals. You'll probably love this one. Hire a coach. Hire a coach, especially a good one. I hired a coach when that was back in 2015. That was my year of Kaizen, where I had this New Year's mantra where it's like, okay, 2013, rebirth. I was reborn, became a voracious reader. 2014, year of strength, got into CrossFit, followed my Taekwondo instructor on his fitness journey as well, got more fit, got able to deadlift to 305 pounds, and that helped me become better physically more than I ever thought, because that wasn't even the goal either. In 2015, I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm making progress here, but I feel like I need to improve. And I actually hired a coach that year. It was a pretty darn penny. But make my money back from it, though. And that's the thing. A coach is really something that everybody should have in their life at least once, because the greatest coaches have coaches. Like, it's so darn true. I'm sure you can speak to that, because I just see the anticipation. I see it. It's so darn true. You can speak so much truth to this.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I notice the difference when I have a coach and when I don't have a coach. And it's also a big deal to make sure that you're getting a coach that actually is the right coach and fit for you. So that makes it, that's important to also be taking a look at that. Not just any coach. I mean, coaches are all as unique as who they are individually as people. So you want to make sure that you find one that resonates with you. So number one tip is have a coach.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Get coached, because they'll help bring out of you, because that's one of the greatest things about a true leader is that they see the jewel that you are for who you are, what you can become, as opposed to how you may be showing off to others now. They focus on what you can become, and they help you get to that point of what you can become, as opposed to focusing on who you are right now and helping you maintain it, no matter how good or even bad it is. So definitely one of the biggest reasons to take on a coach, because that really helped me to take quantum leaps on top of everything else.
I think a coach really has that ability to be able to see potential, see a vision for, what's possible, the direction that you're headed based on what the individual desires for themselves. And I think that's what really helps is sometimes as, even coaches, this is why coaches have coaches, is like, we can get enmeshed in our own stuff, and we might go, I want to go in that direction, and still kind of feel like, what do I do?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. And so that's how a coach helps. The coach helps because they don't have all that other stuff going on, about the vision, about the goal, about the journey, and they can really help support you in various ways. So awesome. So what other tips would you say could help someone in moving forward? And I would even say choose, I don't know why this is coming up. Maybe it must be coming up for a reason. Choosing to have a goal. Do you have something to speak to that?
Amen to that. Definitely choose to have a goal, because those who have goals are the ones that are really going to move further forward, because a goal gives you a target to hit. Maybe not the Target store, but a target to hit. And shout out to the sensational Sherry and Helene in the audience once again. Hello to you too. And really, just a goal gives you focus. It helps you to have laser focus, because another thing about the coach thing, he turned me on to Jim Rohn, which is one of the most legendary professional development speakers of all time. And he was Tony Robbins' first ever real mentor and helped him to become who he is. And I like to compare Tony Robbins and Jim Rohn as Bruce Lee to Ip Man, his teacher, the master of Wing Chun, because that's really how it is. Because when you hear Jim Rohn speak, funny enough, he's a Virgo too, funny enough. And his knowledge, his wisdom, and not doing the rah rah all the time. He's like a motivational teacher as opposed to a motivational speaker because it's tangibles that you can walk away with. And having goals was one of the main things he talks about. Zig Ziglar talked about it lots. Like goals are talked about a lot for a reason because they help you to focus and direct your energy towards something because we
Right.
all have potential within us and we can move in all sorts of directions, which is good and bad. It's good to move, but it's bad to move in multiple directions because if you move in multiple directions and you're not focused on that one goal, like the book itself, like if I wasn't challenged to write the book and get it done within a year, it might not have gotten done. If I didn't bring on that coach, I probably would have never thought of that reading list because that's another thing too. Like reading lists, using that as a product and selling it to people and using it as a business card, like that's freaking unheard of. Like that's not something you hear about every day. Like you could probably go into Goodreads or ask a good friend what's a good book, and
Right.
really just also enlisting others in your advancement. Kind of like with the list of people that were my invisible accountability buddies that I told I was going to write the book to, because when you make things public like that, it's going to push you to really manifest something. Because if you're the only person that knows about a certain goal, you'll be a failure to yourself and not the whole audience. But subconsciously, we all need each other and we're all social creatures. When you tell somebody, hey, I'm going to write this book, hey, I'm going to get these dishes done before the night's over, hey, the trash is going to be out, or hey, I'm finally going to start this business, and like, yeah, to the moon or whatever. And when you actually tell people that and they hold you to it, and you tell multiple people, then you're failing them. And we subconsciously don't want to fail other people because most of us, if not a lot of us, all of us humans, we want to serve other people. And making sure that you put your butt on the line and in the fire, you realize, you know what? I don't want to fail them. I can fail me because I don't know about it. And it'll be a regret moment when the darn deathbed comes. But if I tell other people, it's like, oh, they're going to know. And they're going to have the strange look when I'm not looking. And that's really just another part of choosing to have a goal too, because that's how you choose to be better.
Love it, Dom. Love it, Dom. So I want to definitely also just give another shout out to our audience members. We have Helene saying that I am a rock star and I am moving in a new way. No one knows of me. Helene, people know of you. I know that people know of you, and more people are going to know of Helene. Dom, let me share with you that Helene is on her third book right now.
Woohoo! Congratulations. I found a new author to be on the show. My goal is 1,000. So, Helene, you're going to be on a podcast soon. Let's chat after the show.
So keep going, Helene. And I love that you shared that. And Sherry here is saying, my goal is a Facebook page. Build it, then a podcast. That's my goal. Awesome, Sherry. Holding that vision for you as well. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Go get them. Go get them. With both hands. And legs if you have to. Just get them.
I didn't even ask Dom to make up a song for us tonight, and he's already given us like 3. I love it. Okay, so Dom, it cracks me up because that's what I do in my spare time. I just walk around making up songs. So thank you for bringing that to the show tonight. I love it.
I was a fan of you for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So, okay, so what was my question I just had? Okay, so when setting goals, I know there's a lot out there, but Dom, do you have any, any recommendations for what people should specifically focus on, or any key areas that you think people tend to miss when they're setting their goals?
The classic one is not setting your goals big enough. And that's one that sticks out to me because I hear it a lot because I listen to Grant Cardone a lot because he's one of my influencers, because he's so darn funny and hilarious and he's living his truth and he inspires me. And heck, even sometimes I may even feel guilty of doing that myself where I'm not making my goals big enough. A book before the age of 25 is freaking huge. Heck, even your 20s is huge. And enlisting others to do that is even bigger. Starting a podcast, that's a big goal, especially if you want to stay consistent with it. And really, with the goals, is one, not setting them big enough. 2, not telling others about the goals if it's nothing too personal. And 3, basically setting yourself or putting yourself in the environment, or as I like to call your place of productivity, to make those goals happen. because there's a method called the 2020 method where you set a goal at the top of a page. So I believe, Sherry, a goal to have a Facebook page, build it, then have a podcast. So for that, okay. Well, to be honest, I'm going to tell you right now, work on using your personal page for business as opposed to having a business page. Because even though you can use the business page for having ads and whatnot, like I use my personal Facebook page for business, to be honest, because I share stuff that I want people to know about, like funny memes, my podcast, and everything else. Because of business pages, you have to pay to play. Funny enough, on Natalie Jill's page, her husband, her teammate, with her business, her husband was testing out an ad, and she has like 1 million plus followers, and it would have cost her $64,000 to run that ad to reach all 1.5 million of her followers and other people. And it's like, wow, you got to pay to reach the folks that like your page. And I'm like, all right. Ever since I found that out, I'm like, you know what? Let me focus on organic reach with a personal page and making that about business and just fun and all that other good stuff. Because at the end of the day, it's all curated, and I can use the business page, the like page, for just ads and whatnot, because it's really where the reach is. And then with the podcast, the 2020 method, so focus on the business page, make it about business, starting a podcast. Okay, number 2, grab Dom's free gift off of dombrightmon.com, the 21 lessons learned from 2+ years of podcasting. You'll get 21 lessons that have actually applied to my life and still apply today, or you can get 21 other things to fill your list up, like with other things, using social media, guesting on other podcasts to build your audience, get on Kim's show, have Kim on your show, and really just thinking of multiple ways to make that big goal happen. So have the big goal, then have many little tick marks to work towards making the goal manifest. Those are just a few things of making the goal happen, like all the Captain Crunches.
Look at the Captain Crunch. Okay. Thank you for that, Dom. I love that nice little cap on the, serious. Here's what you got to do, and now Captain Crunch. Okay. So
Bottle caps.
What was really coming through as you were talking about, making sure that your dream is big enough. It's really tying in that piece of when you're feeling the fear. And so I think a really great question would be for someone to say, okay, I'm feeling all this fear, and now let me see, is this telling me that that this is if you're questioning, if that's the right direction or goal to be reaching for, that direction to move in, I think a good follow-up question is to ask yourself, is this a big goal? Is maybe that why I'm feeling all that fear? Because you're right. When the goals are smaller, we're not as likely to feel that fear and anxiety, because it's like, it seems like, chump change, small things. And that's not to say that those aren't worth pursuing. However, I think it depends on how satisfied are you with how the rate you're moving, you're growing and accomplishing goals and all those kinds of things. So I just wanted to connect those dots between the fear, and if you've got that big goal, that could be your indication that absolutely you are right on track.
Woohoo! Feels good to be on the right side of the track and not the left side of the track.
Awesome. And Sherry is saying, thank you for that so much.
My pleasure, Sherry.
And she appreciates that helpful information. So awesome, Sherry. Good to hear that. And you know what? I'm sorry, Dom, just to burst your bubble. Helene is actually saying that she's not going to be doing any shows because she can't hear well. And so I would say, Helene, the invitation's there. It sounds like, if and when.
There you go.
So
it could be a Zoom call. It could be audio only. That's how I started, funny enough. So
well, now let's talk about that. So how long have you been doing a podcast for?
Well, it'll be 3 years in September. So next month, 3 years. Yeah. Well, it's actually 3 years now, because I did the recordings early August and they actually launched in September. So yeah, it's actually 3 years now.
And was that something that you wanted to pursue, or how did that come about for you?
Yeah. The podcast itself, that was actually an idea that wasn't a goal yet until after my book was published, because folks have been telling me for years I got this golden radio voice. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to need you all to pay for this down the road. All right. Got to make a living here. I'm like, maybe I should start a podcast. Because a friend turned me on the podcast back in 2010, and I listened to this wonderful show called The O Show back in the day, when it was all about professional wrestling and life and stupid guy jokes. I'm like, yeah, I love this, so might as well do that. Like, I'll start a podcast. I have no idea what the hell it's going to be about, but I'm going to start one, darn it. And after that, it just went into the subconscious mind. And a couple years later, it's like, hey, I got this magical book here. It's great. Yeah. And 6 months later, lose my father after a 6-year battle with Alzheimer's. And I'm like, oh, crap. And then a couple of months later, I realized, wait, I still have this book here. This is a business I'm building here. I might as well get back onto the marketing thing because my father believed in keep going on no matter what. He was still helping out his church in his 80s, lifting heavy boxes when we had no one else around because I was in school back then. And
Wow.
I'm like, if he's doing that at 80, I can still do something with my life in my 20s. So I had a coffee chat with my buddy, one of my buddies in the coaching business, and she was like, hey, why don't you call your podcast the Going North Podcast? Because funny enough, it was going to be originally called the Mr. Music and Reads Podcast, funny enough, because that's the thing about me. Sometimes I usually get going with one thing, and then after a while I get bored with it and I do something else. But this is one of the times where it's like, you know what? Stick with this one thing here that seems to be working.
Okay.
Because Going North is more than a book. It's a brand, and that's really where it came from. I made it about interviewing authors and made it about coming from a place of service about others as opposed to me, because the world's bigger than me, and there's a lot of stuff that's bigger than me, and it's better to make meaning as opposed to just making it all about me, because it's not all about me.
Okay, so I've told Dom a couple of times now that, from what I've learned about him and what I see of what he's produced, everything seems so streamlined and well put together and just continues to build and grow upon itself. And I have to ask you, Dom, have you ever, were there ever any moments where you felt like you weren't moving forward? Maybe you were feeling like you're going sideways or going backwards or, so talk to us. How did you recalibrate and get back on track so you can keep going forward?
Yeah, so one of the moments was the moment of grief. That was the biggest one, because anybody who's a caregiver, especially with a loved one who's going through that evil disease that affects everyone around them more than the actual person suffering with it, you have this feeling of anticipatory grief. And I thought I was going to be prepared for it, but I wasn't.
Oh.
And it hit me like a ton of bricks after the funeral was said and done, because since he was a veteran, he had a plot in one of the veteran cemeteries out here in Maryland. And we had to wait a few weeks, and he passed. It was probably about a good 2 weeks we had to wait for to bury him, put his body in the ground. We had the funeral the day after, the same day, and all that good stuff. And really, it was after that where it actually hit me, and I still decided to keep going on no matter what. And not only that, finally starting that podcast, after starting the show, connecting with all these wonderful humans across the globe, imposter syndrome came flying at me because, yep.
It's going to get you.
That's right. We are two peas in the pod. No wonder you're wearing green. I love it.
Oh, I totally get you. Everything you're saying, I can resonate with on some level. I love it.
Yes, indeed. It's like we're Danny DeCane, the D and the K, or in this case, Kevin Durant, you're the K, I'm the D.
You lost me a little bit there, but I liked how it sounded, so that was good. I'll go with it.
Yeah, that's right. Go north with it. That's right.
Yes.
But yeah, imposter syndrome. Yeah. That was the big thing. And really just having a meeting really with my supervisor at the time when they noticed that I wasn't my normal self 3 months afterwards. And I was lacking some self-awareness, not to mention realizing that I went back to the old technique of telling others about my goals, because when my first book was published, I said 2 years in the future, I'm going to have a sequel to this, because I finished the book in 10 months and I gave myself a year to do it. And there's still some stuff I had to say. So I'm like, all right, let me just go on ahead, publish what I got, and then I'll just polish it up and make it even better for round 2. And I was coming up to that deadline, and one of my wonderful colleagues, Robbie, good dude, big hearted. He's like the gentle giant. Like, dude's he's like 6'5", not 6'5", 6'5", 6'7". Dude is huge and got this soft spoken voice. But I bet he could probably break a guy in two, though. I bet he could. But told him about it. He would be like, hey, Dom, where's the book at, man? And I'm like, yeah, I got a chapter, man. It's going to be out. Yeah, this is probably like, I don't know, February, summer, whatever. It kept on asking me like every other week. And God bless those people who do that, because that goes back to the original phrase of telling people about your goals, so that way folks can call you out your BS when they remember it. Because some folks, you may not see them ever again if it's a stranger, but those you're around with a lot, especially if they hear you saying something a lot and you live a certain truth, they're going to see if you really truly believe in that truth by your actions. And just having that guy in my corner helped me to realize, you know what? I need to get this book out here and get over my own darn imposter syndrome. It's like, because I was thinking, who the hell am I to write about elite performance? I'm talking with these millionaires and all these other folks with bigger followings than me. And I would consider them elite performers. And I'm like, you know what? I just had to get over that and realize, you know what? I said I was going to do this thing, and folks actually counted me in to do this thing. So yeah, advance us to advance yourself at all times.
Wow. Well, as you're talking about that, I was remembering you're an award-winning speaker, and you've won the highest award that you can in Toastmasters. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, distinguished Toastmaster. Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, it's shiny.
Now, how did that come about? Because, I mean, did you go out seeking to? Yeah, you were aiming for, I'm gonna get this award. How did that happen?
That happened because really I realized I was leaving something on the table, because funny enough, I joined Toastmasters after hearing one of Brian Tracy's audiobooks, and he mentioned Toastmasters, and that was around the time when I was in my year of rebirth, 2013. And early 2014 March, with my church, I volunteered to lead a public speaking seminar, because we had this ministry called Corporate Development Ministry, helping folks to get employed, get the resumes out there, become more ready for employment, heck, maybe even become an entrepreneur. And out of all the things to do, public speaking seminar was one of them. I signed up for it because that's where I got my start in the church with public speaking, as a 10-year-old reciting Bible verse in front of hundreds of congregation members every Sunday when the church was full. I'm like, all right, let me do this thing. I joined Toastmasters, seeking out someone to hopefully do the seminar, built a relationship up. The seminar was a success. And I realized, you know what? I'm leaving something on the table. And funny enough, that was when I decided to join an additional club to get more speaking opportunities, because it's a laboratory for leadership development and communication. It's not all about speaking. It's also about leadership development, because everyone's a leader. People see, people do. And when people see you do something and they like it, they want to do it too. Kind of like with Sherry when I start a podcast. Someone's probably inspiring her and she wants to do the same thing, inspire others. So I went to that
You
meeting.
nailed it, by the way. Sherry's all about inspiring others. So
yes, indeed. Awesome. I knew that dress was fabulous on the profile picture for a reason. You don't wear colorful stuff like that without being some kind of inspirational figure. But yeah, definitely that. And funny enough, that other Toastmasters meeting is where I met the guy who I hired as a coach, because he gave this wonderful speech of how to act like a leader. Leaders are audacious, contagious, and tenacious. Kind of like a whole conquering fear thing. You got to be audacious, bold enough to conquer that fear. Use your fear as a compass. You got to be contagious. Leaders are influencers. Like Sherry's influence, Kim has a bunch of folks that are influenced by her. Folks are influenced by me. You got to be an influencer, and tenacious. You got to still keep going on no matter what. So I stick with Toastmasters because of what happened. Like, I met a coach, hired him, became a multiple time author, got another book on the way, became a better speaker. Heck, even found my first few podcast guests through Toastmasters. Nice. And connected with so many people that I probably would have never connected with if I didn't stay with it, because it's one of those organizations that's still left in the world where the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. So I'm grateful to the organization of what it allows you to become if you take it for what it is and kind of use it as a sword to fight off the giant dragon known as negativity.
Amazing. Okay, so now here's where I want to connect the dots, because as a podcaster, you are innately, in my book, a speaker, someone who's putting yourself out there. And you were talking moments ago about how, you know, as you were already into your podcast journey, all of a sudden imposter syndrome crept up. And yet, prior to that, you were already an accomplished award-winning speaker. So, and I can completely relate to that, because same thing happened to me. When I started my podcast, I already had, you know, what I consider a performance background, being able to speak and be on stage in front of people in different ways. So to me, this was not a thing. Like, I was really caught off guard when that crept in, this whole other layer of fear and anxiety that showed up. And I thought, what is going on? Like, I can do this. And it was this whole new thing to work through. So So I don't know. Does that bring up any? You already talked a little bit about how you started to, work through some of that. But is there anything else that shows up for you when I connect those dots about how you were already an award-winning speaker and then imposter syndrome still showed up for you?
Yeah, I think it was the evil gap known as comparison. And
Oh,
that's probably one of the biggest weapons against someone's growth, period. Because there's a lot of gaps in life, but there's a time gap, a knowledge gap, but the comparison gap, when you compare yourself to other people on what they put on social media or how they appear when you get face to face with them. Sometimes when you get one on one with people, you realize, you know what? They're doing big things, but they're still human just like me because they're going through stuff. Heck, with at the beginning of this COVID, like when listening to some folks who mentioned how if they don't do something within a month, they could be out of business and bankrupt if they're not careful, these big name folks. And it's like, wow, so they're just living paycheck to paycheck, just like regular folks. And you realize, you know what? It There's this fake it till you make it thing, and my preferred method of living it until you advance. But while we're all advancing, we're all still growing and learning together. No matter how big someone may appear to be, we're all
always.
still human. And that's really just the thing. Avoid comparison. Just say to yourself, if you're like you're scrolling through social media one day, Facebook, Instagram, or whatever, just realize like, hey, this is a curated feed. This picture probably could be 5 years old. Funny enough, I still got content I reuse constantly thanks to the Facebook memories feature. And that stuff was from a me that was 5 years ago. And I'm like, oh crap. Like, wow, all right. That still sounds good today, or at least good enough to share again. I'll share it again. And just realizing that, hey, like it may not be perfect, but it can still be progress.
I love that you brought that up because that's a little trap. That little trap of comparison. It's never about us and someone else. It's always about you right now and who were you before and who do you want to be. It's like each of us individually on our own timeline. We're all moving forward on our own journey. So I love that you brought that up. For me, it was more so about feeling like I just was so much more exposed than I previously was. And I hadn't realized that. And I thought, whoa, okay, this is like a whole new comfort level to embrace and learn about. So awesome. So Dom, what would you say is your mission as you are going north? You are inspiring people, you're accomplishing your own goals, but you are also helping lots of other people advance and accomplish their goals as well. What is your mission? What overall do you want to accomplish?
Well, one of those goals with the podcast itself is interview 1,000 authors, and that's just a growth goal. Just to be honest, because to be honest, I had no idea how long I was going to go with this thing, and I didn't see that far in the future. And I guess that goes with the visualization too, is the fact that yes, it's a great tool. Top athletes, top performers use it. It's great, but sometimes I'm not good at that. And that's kind of like where this whole 1,000 authors thing came to be, because it's like, you know what? It's a random number. It's big. I'll go for it. And really just the relationships I'll create along the way, because it's really the virtual coffee, as I see it, as really where we're at this moment. So, hey, that's probably one of the big goals. And heck, eventually to have a library of my own, an actual physical library. That's definitely a big goal. It's like, why manage a library when you can own one?
There's actually an awesome project that Dom is working on that he wanted to share, and I wanted him to be able to share it.
One of my life phrases: never hesitate to show gratitude, and gratitude is definitely in order for this wonderful Special K, Kim O'Neill herself, the Special K.
Aww.
Thanks a bunch. And this wonderful project right here, From Crappy to Happy, Sacred Stories of Transformational Joy. Myself and 24 other authors are going to be launching this wonderful multi-author project early October, October the 6th, that Tuesday. Go ahead and be on the lookout for that. And it's full of awesome humans. We got the wonderful James Redfield behind the wonderful book and movie, The Celestine Prophecy, writing the foreword for this book. Another wonderful author by the name of Ariel Patricia. She's actually an interfaith minister and a U.S. veteran. Like, she's a veteran in I'm not sure if it's the Marines or the Armies. Good thing she's in Florida, so she can't kill me for getting it wrong. But she's gonna be in this book, and she's spearheading it along with her special friend Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas, Cat Canavas. She's this wonderful lady who wrote this book, Dreams Can Save Your Life, because she actually was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she found this out because she had a dream that a Franciscan monk handed her a sutra saying that she had breast cancer when the medical test told her that she didn't have it. So after 3 different tests saying that she didn't have it, she took another test because that dream told her she had it. And after that other test, she took it and they were able to find it and get rid of it. So we got a movie maker, we got a wonderful veteran interfaith minister, and a wonderful lady who had dreams that saved her life to be a part of this book, as well as myself, where the main theme is growth is happiness. Because when you're having crappy moments, you want to feel happy again. And you turn that crap or that junk into a crown or turn that junk into a jewel. So that's just a little teaser of what's to come. So a breast cancer survivor, a veteran, especially a lady veteran who served in a time where I'm pretty sure she dealt with a lot, and she's still fabulous to boot. She looks far from her age. She looks a lot younger than what she actually is. And James Redfield, along with all these other super special, awesome humans, like pick up the wonderful book. You will be inspired. Your life will change. And this is more about growth than anything else, because if you want to feel better and not butter, this is definitely the project to pick up and read.
You're so poetic. If you want to feel better and not butter, I love it. So when does the book come out, Dom?
Yes, October 6th, that Tuesday. Yes, indeed, October 6th.
October 6th. Awesome. Okay, great. So very, very cool. We wanted to make sure that you knew about the book from crappy to happy, and I love it. And we are nearing the end of today's show, and I want to remind everyone that they can go to dombrightmon.com. And I know he gets this question all the time. What do you prefer, Dominique or Dom? And he always says, whatever you prefer, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like sometimes people just call me Miss, like they call my cell phone, like, hey, I'm here to speak with Dominique. Like, is she there? I'm like, he's here. And I'm like after that, I'm like, you know what? Screw it. It's either Dom or Dominic. Either way, it's cool. As long as it's not Tyrone, we're good.
Good. Okay.
No offense to Tyrones that I know. They're good people.
But that's not your name.
Exactly.
What is helping you to stay positive and choose that outlook as you continue to go north and move forward, especially in this time of COVID? So that's my point there.
Oh yeah, there's quite a few things. Reading is definitely one of them. Even though I've read a little less than usual because I'm trapped at home, as opposed to going to coffee shops where that's one of my places of productivity. And reading is definitely one of them. Coffee is always great. And I actually got back into gaming. Funny enough, oh my gosh, Final Fantasy 15. My goodness, I got back into gaming. Final Fantasy 15 has been one of them. Like that was one heck of a gaming experience. Like Japanese role-playing games translated over to English, and just like, oh my goodness, hundreds of hours into that game. Like, my goodness, like gaming, reading, listening to other great podcasts, being on podcasts, amping up more guests. Funny enough, I got so many darn recordings that I'm finally catching up on with my show. So really, it's just been a mixture of things and just laughing every day. Like that's another thing that I've been doing, finding some time to laugh at something, even if it's yourself, because heck, I think I'm funny. Like, shoot, if I laugh at myself, folks might think I'm funny eventually. Like my corny jokes, I've been told I'm corny. I'm like, oh, thank you. That's the point. It's like, yeah. It's like, yeah, it's great. It's great. And I tell them the corn cobs appear. It's the corn cobs that appear. So humor, gaming, reading. Oh yeah, water's good too. Water's good too. Yeah. And realizing and avoiding the darn news. Please avoid the darn news. The media, like all the TV shows, like the CNNs, the Fox, I don't care for any of them, to be honest. Like, focus on what's going on, and heck, even going to the CDC itself and maybe the WHO for the World Health Organization, like going to the direct source for stats as opposed to the news too. So that's my thing.
I love that you acknowledge that, because it's the same here. I'm not big on the news, but I'll tap into it to just, kind of make sure like what's going on, stay updated to a degree. Okay, so those are your recommendations, the who, and any other sources that you kind of get quick bite-size updates of news. So what's going on, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Twitter's good for that too, because that's a lot of preferred outlets for PR people and news sources. So I have a Twitter feed and I go through that and see what's going on and then see where the sites are and making sure that it's from a .org site and actually checking the dates of certain articles too, because that's something else, because folks may get mad at something like, you seen this? Like a certain person said this. I'm like, wait, that was from 2016. It's 4 years in the future. It's like, oh, you seen this? Like, that's from 2008. Like, stop it. Like, pay attention to the dates you're seeing articles and don't just read the headlines, because in this it's still a clickbait era, and it's an era of attention management. We have to manage where you're putting your attention, and you have to basically fact check everything. So making sure that's a .org site, checking the dates on certain articles, and trying to check a few minutes before. It's kind of like the Bible in a way, where you read a few verses before and after, like with certain video clips, listen to the before and after, get the whole picture and not just the 30 seconds, because that 30 seconds could be spliced and spinned for something else. So that's just some more recommendations.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And Dom, where can, I know you mentioned you have a free download on your website. Would you like to tell everyone about that again and let them know how they can get that?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I come bearing gifts. Santa Claus is chocolatey today, and he's not even 40 yet, so this is good.
He's not even 30 yet.
Exactly. That's right. The chocolate. It's fabulous. But yeah, DonBrightmon.com. Pop-up will appear. Just enter in your name, preferably first and last, and your email, and you'll receive a free ebook called The 21 Lessons from 2+ Years of Podcasting. It's basically, I say, around 90 to 95% of what I know and do with podcasts and what I've learned from actually doing and running a podcast, as opposed to a bunch of theory. And it's only 5 pages, so you'll get through it quick. And that's really my free gift to the audience if you want to start a podcast, or even if you want some life advice too, because it's a little self-help in there. I'm sure Kim has it. She could probably attest to it.
I absolutely can attest to it. Yes. So awesome. So definitely check that out. Again, that was at dombrightmon.com. And for those only on the audio replay, that is DOM as in Mary, B as in boy, RIGHTMON.com. And Dom, you are so fun. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for being who you are, showing up authentically, doing your thing, and inspiring all of us. I absolutely love it. And I'm grateful that we've connected and you've been able to be on the show today. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm grateful for you, Kim. You are freaking fabulous. Love what you do. Love what you do. And definitely keep up that positive energy too, because folks are going to need it. It's like, yay, the white chocolate goddess is here to bring me positivity. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, thank you, Dom. You get a virtual hug.
Yay!
Awesome. Okay. And thank you to everyone who's been with us live or on the replay. And I see Betty here is saying that she will definitely take a look at the replay with the closed captioning. Appreciate that, Betty. Absolutely. We keep working, doing our best with the closed captioning. And she's saying great energy vibes here. Love it. And we love you as well, Betty. So thank you for being here. And thank you again to everyone who is with us live. And, let us know what you're taking away from today's conversation. What came out of this conversation, whether it be something directly that correlates to what we spoke about, or maybe something else. Are you inspired to create a new goal for yourself, or to say yes to something that maybe was too scary to even start before, and now you're ready to say, you know what? Screw that. I'm going to say yes anyway and do it. I'm always here to support you on that. So feel free to let us know in the comments. And remember, wherever you are today does not have to be where you are tomorrow. Every day is always a new day. There's always hope, and you are always absolutely amazing. And it's just all about you knowing and owning that first. So have an amazing day. I'm going to be back again live tomorrow with another Rise and Shine Creating 2020 Vision guest. And we're going to keep it going, because this is your moment. This is your time to experience what it is that you want to experience because this is your life and we're here to move forward, go north together. And exactly. So with that, have an amazing evening and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye, everybody. And that's today's show. So what are you taking away? Let me know down in the comments wherever you listened or watched today's episode, and connect with me on Facebook on the Every Day is a New Day show and coaching page, or visit KimO'NeillCoaching.com for more info. Remember, every day is always a new day. Wherever you are today does not have to be where you are tomorrow. There is always hope, and you will always be amazing. I'll see you next time.